local station. The 10 o'clock news starts now.
The stage was set at Broward College, but then the unexpected.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have an extremely peculiar situation right now.
A few awkward seconds later, Charlie Crist walked up to his podium and waited.
We have been told that Governor Scott will not be participating in this debate.
After several minutes of uncertainty and anxiety for the organizers, Governor Scott made his entrance and did participate in the debate. The verbal sparring, however, is being overshadowed right now by what has come to be called already Fangate 2014.
Here is video of the fan in question resting underneath Charlie Crist's podium. It was there despite the moderator's insistence that the rules they had seen for the debate said no fans. Crist didn't see it that way.
Governor Crist, do the rules of the debate say that there should be no fan?
Not that I'm aware of.
And then the Crist campaign quickly tweeted this out, a candidate letter of agreement signed by Crist with his handwritten notation at the bottom, quote, with understanding that the debate hosts will address any temperature issues with a fan if necessary.
After what seemed like an eternity to the debate hosts, but was actually just several minutes, Rick Scott relented and the actual debating began. Channel 4's Kent Justice is joining us now live from Davie in South Florida. Kent, how are the two sides spinning this?
Well, both sides, Tom, are spinning it as that shows you what that candidate is all about, and it's bad. Of course, they're taking that kind of position, but I'll tell you that 7 minutes before Governor Scott decided to come out on stage, it really did present an awkward situation for everybody who is inside the room in the debate hall, and it's caused quite a stir. I'll tell you what, lawmakers, reporters that I've talked to even tonight said that was the best, most interesting, unusual debate that I think I've seen. As far as the issues go, the governor's actually sparred on most of them, and utility bills actually sparked one of the strongest comments for each other.
While he was governor, utility costs went up 30%. They went from below the national average to above the national average. Since I got elected, utility rates have come down 11%. Now we're below the national average. Now, with regard to solar, we need to have an attitude that we want everything, but it's got to be reliable and it's got to be cost effective. If Charlie had his way, we'd go the path of California. What's the path of California? It's a 40% increase in electricity for our residents.
The increase in your utility bills has happened under the last 4 years. You at home watching tonight know if your bills are going up under Rick Scott. I know mine is, and I'm sure yours probably is too. You also know that your property insurance bills are going up under Rick Scott. You may not know this. He actually signed into law recently a law that says that the Office of Insurance Regulation cannot regulate insurance. Does that make sense to anybody? Well, it does to the insurance companies.
Each candidate declined our request for interviews following the debate this evening, but each campaign surrogate spoke with passions about the points made and not made in the wake of the debate, and all the seeming focus on the fan, those surrogates also focusing on the fan while telling us not to focus on the fan.
Let's talk about the fan. Charlie Crist lost the first debate, so he had to break the rules and cheat on this one and have his fan to distract everybody from losing 832,000 jobs and bringing our state to a complete grinding halt.
It's really sad when we have 1 million Floridians without health care because he won't expand Medicaid, when we've cut $1.3 billion from education, when we've really not taken care of our environment. These are important issues, and that's what we should be talking about. And I cannot believe that he thinks it's more important to fight over a fan that was negotiated ahead of time over the fact that, you know, he just doesn't want Charlie to be comfortable. That's ridiculous. I've decided I'm going to get a pink fan.
Coming up at 11, we'll have much more of the reaction, including national figures like U.S. Senator Marco Rubio and Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, both from Florida, but on the political stage across the nation. They're very well known. Talking about this and trying to get to some of the real issues rather than the huge distraction of that first 7 minutes and whether or not there should have been a fan for Governor Crist at his podium tonight. Live in Davie, Florida and Broward County, Kent Justice, Channel 4, the local station.
Ken, it was clear from watching the debate that there were many people with partisan feelings in the audience, but did you get any reaction to Fangate? I'm not sure I really want to use that word, but that seems to be what people are calling it. Did you get any reaction from Fangate to those people who were just there to see the debate, like the college students, for example?
I think all of the people who didn't have that vested interest of that's my candidate, that's all they could talk about was the fan. And a lot of people at the outset saying it really reflected negatively on Governor Scott for making a big issue out of something that they thought was petty. On the other hand, I have heard, and more of this coming from Governor Scott's side, hey, it was a matter of sticking to the rules, and they felt like Governor Christ did not. And by the way, Governor Christ's campaign told me tonight that they indeed did bring the fan. They're the ones who installed it there at the podium tonight. Tom?
Kent Justice reporting to us live from Davie. Thank you, Kent. We'll see you again at 11. Now, coming up at 10:30, we'll be talking with our News 4 Jax political analyst Jennifer Carroll to get her take on Fangate and the debate.
Covering Nassau County now, we're now hearing part of a 911 call from a man who admitted killing his former boss and then barricading himself in his home. He exchanged gunfire with deputies and finally shot himself. According to investigators, Alan Fortunia blamed Stephen Swan for the loss of his job 4 years ago. Fortunia ran over Swan in a Walmart parking lot shortly before 6 p.m. yesterday. Deputies followed him home, where he fired shots at them before finally taking his own life. Here's part of a 911 call he made to police after he hit Swan.
I want you to confirm to me that the person that I killed in the Walmart parking lot was Steve Swan. I can't live with myself if I thought I killed somebody that wasn't him. When you find that out, call me back.
Now, police say after Fortunia hit Swan, a bystander chased him until Fortunia barricaded himself in his home. News 4 Jax spoke to that man earlier today, and Francesca Amaker has details. Francesca, did he say whether he was scared?
Well, Mary, he actually said it was pure instinct. He used to be in the military, and as the shots fired increased, his persistence to catch the killer did as well.
Shot here. This is the exhaust shot. The tire was shot out, just in the back. The window was shattered, and the glass is off in the seat. I got video of the window. Last shot was here.
Kyle Davis was one of the 3 Good Samaritans who was shot at chasing down this man, 59-year-old Alan Fortunia, with his truck Tuesday night.
The first thing I noticed was the car on its side. Next thing I noticed was the faces on the people's face were panicked. And then I saw the car on the side of Walmart starting to pitch speed off.
Davis witnessed the driver run a man over and then take off from the Yulee Walmart parking lot, and he said his instinct kicked in.
And as soon as I noticed he was speeding off, I cut through the parking lot, probably about 4 or 5 lanes, speeding as fast as I could to try to intercept the car. And he ran through the stop sign at such a high speed, he actually ran into the curb.
Davis then followed the man to his home and got out of his truck just seconds before Fortunia fired 5 shots into it. Shortly after that, Fortunia barricaded himself into his home.
I heard 4 to 6 shots, and when we heard shots, we went to the next door neighbors where we called the cops and held up in there until the cops arrived.
The ex-military member says he wasn't thinking about his life. He just wanted justice for the family of the victim, who we now know as 53-year-old Stephen Swan.
My thoughts were just simple. Hit-and-run victim, stop him. I'm ex-military, and it was just a reaction.
Now, since investigating Fortunia's home, police say they did find indications that he had been suicidal. Swan's family is now making funeral arrangements. This investigation is ongoing with the Nassau County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Francesca. Now, new at 10, we have now learned the names of a divorced couple found dead this afternoon at a Southside apartment complex. Police believe the man shot the woman before turning the gun on himself.
Police say 42-year-old Lori Salas and 41-year-old Daniel Salas were found dead at the Elements of Belle Reve apartment complex. We're told they had divorced but continued to see each other. Daniel Salas had a prior criminal record. He was arrested on charges of domestic violence in April of this year against Lori Salas. Police say a relative discovered their bodies in the apartment after going to check on Lori Salas.
I hadn't heard from her in quite some time, and so he came over here and flagged down the management and maintenance, asked if he can go in and check on the individual that was inside. And when they did, he discovered that she and one other person was deceased.
Police are continuing to investigate.
A string of break-ins on the west side, at least one caught on camera.
Neighbors have been hit, good friends of ours have been hit, so
It needs to be stopped.
Where police say they've seen more than 20 burglaries over the past few months, and how neighbors say they're worried who's next. Ahead.
It spread through the schools so fast it sent a third of the students home. A Tampa high school closes for the week. What it was that gave all the students, or so many students, a string of sick days. Ahead.
And Ebola fears continue to escalate tonight. I'm Adrienne Moore. How the president and doctors here in Jacksonville are reacting. Coming up in a live report.
Now to the Ebola outbreak. The second nurse from Dallas who has come down with the disease is now at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, where she'll continue to receive treatment.
This is video of 29-year-old Amber Joy Vinson being helped from a plane into an ambulance for the final leg of her trip to Emory. According to the Centers for Disease Control, her condition is stable. In another development, President Obama canceled campaign trips both today and tomorrow and delivered his strongest statement yet on the U.S. response to the outbreak.
We are going to have to make sure that we do not lose sight of the importance of the international response to what is taking place in West Africa. I am absolutely confident that we can prevent a serious outbreak of the disease here in the United States.
For more on what the president said, Channel 4's Adrienne Moore is joining us now live from UF Health. She has also spoken with a local infectious disease specialist for this health alert. Adrienne?
Tom, earlier today, the president said that he would do everything in his power to help calm the fears of the country. And while many people here in Jacksonville are expressing a certain level of Ebola fatigue, doctors are very quick to point out this evening that while Ebola may be highly infectious, it is not highly contagious. How concerned should the layperson be about this, and how do they go about being prepared?
Well, I think the old dictum, be aware, not beware, is probably a good way to remember this.
On the heels of a second case of a nurse contracting Ebola, panic continues to spread across the country about how to combat the deadly virus. But UF Health physician Dr. Mobeen Rathore says it's important to remember you can only transmit it through blood or bodily secretions.
It's just not casual contact. You not get it from eating, from drinking, from walking past somebody who may have Ebola. You really need to get that infected person's secretions on them.
In an emergency meeting, President Obama tried to calm the growing national anxiety.
This is not a situation in which, like a flu, the risks of a rapid spread of the disease are imminent. I am absolutely confident that we can prevent a serious outbreak of the disease here in the United States.
And part of that prevention is a promise from the president to have the CDC's newly implemented rapid response team in place within 24 hours of an Ebola patient's identification.
It's a scary situation, and I am concerned for me and my family.
For Jacksonville residents like Joni Logan, this new case has her switching up her daily routine to minimize her exposure to anyone who might be sick. Is there any part of this that you feel like is being overblown or overlooked, perhaps?
No, I think it's a big concern. We all should be concerned and be worried about our surroundings. I mean, a lot of places I don't even go anymore where I know, a lot of people. Like now, I have to go to the grocery store because I don't have anything to eat.
Now, the CDC has established a special hotline for anyone who may have been aboard that Frontier Airlines flight 1143 from Cleveland to Dallas that this nurse who has now contracted Ebola was on. We want to pass along that number for you tonight. That number, 1-800-CDC-INFO. Again, 1-800-CDC-INFO. Reporting live tonight, Adrienne Moore, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Adrienne. And coming up tonight at 10:30, our sister station in Houston travels to Dallas, where the nurse lives who contracted Ebola. We have a report on what health officials are now having to do to try to make sure she did not infect anyone else with the virus.
Covering St. Johns County, a man who ran from police last week has now been charged with killing a deputy's canine. 27-year-old Brandon Allison has been in jail for a week after he turned himself in on a drug charge. The new charge in the drowning of Barron in a swamp early Tuesday morning is a felony. The canine and his owner were chasing Allison after he was identified as a suspect in a disturbance at a home. A veterinarian determined the German Shepherd died of asphyxia and showed signs of blunt force trauma. Barron is the first St. Johns County Sheriff's Office canine to be killed in the line of duty.
Our 5 powerful radar sweeps track and alert when severe weather threatens your neighborhood. Hours before the storm hits. Channel 4 is the weather authority.
Of course, it was quite the storms yesterday as we had multiple rounds of storminess. Now, tonight, we see the cool air spilling in. Look at the blue here. These are temperatures that are getting right near freezing back out to the west of Chicago, heading southbound, but circling towards us. This will be early tomorrow morning downtown, not around town, but downtown to the beaches. Could be in the 50s. I'll show you some more details on that here in just a moment. How about this time? Well, it's a spectacular sunset alert. And as always, it wasn't the beginning of it. It was the end of it, or near the end of it. Give it a few more seconds. The colors just start to emerge. And again, we start to get that nice orange glow across the horizon. Handful of clouds here, and that was about it. So again, a spectacular evening sunset in the wake of the early morning clouds. Even some showers are still going on around 5 this morning. But there go the clouds offshore. Can you see the St. Johns River reflecting back out in space? Yeah, it was that kind of clear here today. Just a handful of clouds back out west. What's happening on Live 5 Doppler radars now is not much, but you can see some of the details here that are subtle but important. Look at the cool temperatures in Valdosta. They're down to 56 degrees. It's 61 at the airport, but then again, you got the Naval Air Station, or I should say, NAS Jackson. You can see right there along the St. Johns River, somewhat warmer. But all these locations are going to cool down, and even more so in the inland parts, where again, some 40s will be possible by tomorrow morning. We'll do weather where you live here in a moment. Awesome night at midnight. Waking up tomorrow morning, downright chilly. You're going to need a jacket if you're going to be out and about for more than a couple of hours. Now, if you just run to the car, if you're heading on off to school with the kids and they're at the bus stop for just a short period of time, not a problem. Temperatures turn around right as we get through 8 o'clock in the morning, because that's when the sun starts warming things up. We'll talk more about him. He's still super powerful. There's the cold front that cleared things out, back out to the west, and literally from the East Coast all the way out to the Rocky Mountains, nothing. Zero, nada, and not likely to see much develop in terms of clouds, storms, or any trouble for us as we head towards the weekend. It's an amazing looking pattern, and it's in October, which is, as I've mentioned in the past, is my favorite month when it comes to good weather. 52 degrees on the north side tomorrow morning and out towards Cecil. Again, a couple locations out here we might see temperatures a little bit cooler down there, close around 50, 49. Downtown to the beaches in the mid-50s there. If you're along the river, it's somewhat milder. Afternoon highs are generally sunny, beautiful conditions. Daytime temperatures will come up right around 80 degrees. Call it a tremendous-looking Thursday. 10 on the Gone gauge. Can't ask for anything better than that, except unless it was the weekend and the Jags are playing. Oh, wait. It's going to be this nice as we head towards Sunday as well. Call it the Fantastic Four, Tom, Mary. Right on through the weekend. As we can see, daytime temperatures will be looking great.
Thank you, John. Ahead, a local neighborhood on edge.
West Side residents watching and worrying about where burglars will strike next. This is surveillance video of one of the people police would like to catch. What neighbors are saying about their fears that someone will get hurt next.
News 4 Jax starts right now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news alert is in Avondale, where a family just got some really good news tonight.
Over the weekend, we told you about a stroller that had disappeared, a stroller specifically designed for this 10-year-old girl with special needs. Well, tonight, the family has that stroller back. Channel 4's Francesca Amaker is with the 10-year-old girl's mother and joins us live. Francesca, the family's got to be so relieved.
They are so relieved, Mary. They are ecstatic. I mean, the word that she described it was, this is a miracle. In fact, we've only been out here for about 30 minutes now, roughly an hour now, and neighbors have already come up to us and said, hey, did they find the wheelchair? And when we told them the news, they just rejoiced. They said that this was a community effort, and many of the neighbors said there were actually search parties for this wheelchair. Now, I want to go ahead and let you listen to just the first sound of the mother as she found this wheelchair.
It's
truly a miracle, and we really wanted to have you all out to thank you, because we know we had an outpouring of support, people wanting to know what they could do, and of course all we've wanted all along was Clara's chair returned. So our answer when everyone asked what they could do was to just please pray and pass the word along, and everybody keep looking and not give up hope, and it worked.
And this is just some quick footage of little Clara and her mom. They are reunited with this wheelchair. It was taken from outside the family's home on Halloween night. And since then, the family said they've hardly taken Clara out anywhere. They actually had to put her in a smaller wheelchair, and they say that was very uncomfortable for her. And tonight, the wheelchair was spotted by a neighbor just several blocks from their home. And the mother says she was shocked when she received the picture.
Neighbors that live about 5 blocks away thought that they saw something up in the driveway of a house that's being renovated, so the family isn't there all the time, and there's dumpsters and porta potties and all kinds of things in the way. And other neighbors were, I don't know if they were driving by or walking by, I don't even have the full story, but they thought they saw a stroller sort of tucked back and around there, and so they went back up and took a picture of it and sent it to me, and I said, oh my gosh, that is Clara's stroller.
Now, Tom and Joy, I spoke to her, and I actually looked at the stroller myself. I touched it, the wheelchair itself, and she said that it was in perfect condition. I mean, she said the rain didn't harm it at all. She said it was perfect, and she was just so thankful to have it back. And she said Clara is going to sleep very well tonight in her PJs with her wheelchair back in her arms. And they're just very excited, and they want to thank the entire community, because they say this was a community effort. And whoever sent in that picture, they want to thank you specifically. For now, reporting live on Avondale, Francesca Amaker, Channel 4, the local station.
Thank you, Francesca. As happy as that story is, this next story couldn't be sadder. Family and friends gathered tonight to remember 15-year-old DeMontre Franklin, who was shot and killed last week on the west side.
The teen was 8 miles from his home when he was found shot several times in the back outside the Eureka Gardens apartments. Tonight, dozens of his high school classmates, his loved ones and friends, they held a vigil near his home. His mother, Regina Robinson, says she's thankful for all this support, but she wants everyone to take away a bigger message from her son's death.
Don't let his death be in vain. You guys got to learn something from this. You got to learn to listen to your parents or whoever it is that's raising you. You got to listen, because we're not going to tell you anything wrong.
Franklin's mother plans to join the families of slain children and become an advocate against gun violence. Police say they do not have any suspects in her son's death. Coming up at 11, we'll hear much more from her and from her daughter.
A months-long struggle to get his life back after a hit-and-run driver left him for dead along Southside Boulevard.
At the end of the day, I have to be positive about it, because if not, I'm going backwards, not forwards.
While Albert Ives recovers, the waiting goes on for that driver to face justice.
Bert's paying every single day for his mistake, for his act, and that's not fair.
While that still unidentified driver, what he did certainly is not fair. The recovery of a Good Samaritan is nothing short of miraculous.
We first brought you a story back in June. 27-year-old Albert Ives was helping two women change a flat tire just off Southside Boulevard when he was struck by a hit-and-run driver. Tonight, we're getting an exclusive look at his progress as he works hard to heal, and the search continues for the driver who hit him. Channel 4's Adrian Moore joining us now live with the latest on the investigation and on Ives. It looks like he's still in a lot of pain, Adrian.
He certainly is, Joy. And Tom, over the last 5 months, Albert Ives has shown us all that he has a spirit and determination that you just can't break. Earlier today, we were invited to follow him to his physical therapy sessions at UF Health Jacksonville. Now, we want to warn some of our viewers at home tonight that some of the pictures you're about to see with his foot are very graphic. Back in June, he was only given a 70-30 chance of keeping his foot. And tonight, as you're about to see, he is beating the odds with grace, passion, and the power of positivity.
It's bleeding more now.
With each move,
Still doing it, but I only did 3 sets of 5.
no matter how painful
It's super hard.
or challenging, Albert Ives doesn't let the struggle of physical therapy break his motivation to walk again.
It is definitely pain for gain on this one. You have to. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
The 27-year-old visits UF Health Jacksonville twice a week, where he's trying to bounce back after 3 surgeries and reteach his right foot how to bend, stretch, and move.
So you have to refigure out how to do everything, like brush your teeth, take a shower, get dressed. I have to now redress my foot twice a day.
Albert's road to recovery has been a long one. 5 months ago, he was hit by a white Jeep Grand Cherokee on Southside Boulevard as he helped 2 women change a flat tire on the side of the road. The impact was so powerful, Albert was knocked right out of his shoes, but the driver took off.
You do the crime, you got to do the time. And he ran from an accident that jeopardized my life, and it turned my whole life around 360. It took away my job, it took away my apartment, it almost took away my car. So basically, within a blink of an eye, I had to refigure out how to basically function my life.
The Florida Highway Patrol has identified the owner of the Jeep involved, but so far, no arrests have been made. News4Jax has learned the owner reported the Jeep stolen the day after the crash, and FHP is still piecing together its case.
Crime pays in these instances. They often get away with it.
Albert's attorney, John Phillips, has been able to recoup some insurance money to help him pay for the basics like rent, food, and his cell phone. But with mounting medical bills, he fears his act of kindness could end up costing him his financial health.
Bert's paying every single day for his mistake, for his act, and that's not fair. We need somebody to step up who knows who did this or who did this and say, look, I did it, I'm sorry.
It's definitely working, though. I know that for a fact.
Work that through every grit of his teeth, Albert hopes will bring the justice and health he's fighting for.
This is a victory lap. This is going for the gold medal. And I can't wait to get there because the finish line is not quick enough.
He really is such a wonderful young man. Now, Albert says that he wants the story to inspire other hit-and-run victims to stay positive as they recover, and a fund has been set up to help him through this road to recovery. You can find that link on our website, news4jax.com. Reporting live tonight, Adrienne Moore, Channel 4, the local station.
Praise tonight from our crime and safety analyst for the way a Duval County elementary school responded to a hostage situation when, we're told, a 12-year-old threatened a teacher with scissors. It was at Normandy Village Elementary off Herlong Road. We're told no one was injured. The student involved was taken into custody, but no information has been released on his or her identity. It happened in a classroom, and officials say students were moved to another room for their safety.
You want to get the other kids out of there in case the suspect turns on the other students. So now they're out of harm's way. Now they just need to deal with the student and the teacher and remove him safely. So that's policy, is to get everyone to clear the area so you have less of a chance of someone else being hurt.
The school sent this letter home to parents. It says, quote, the type of behavior allegedly demonstrated by the accused will not be tolerated because it does not accurately reflect the safe and effective learning environment we are committed to building and maintaining at Normandy Village Elementary. School officials say they are still investigating the incident. Rides, games, food, shows, just some of what you will find at this year's fair.
Taking a live look downtown, the opening night, it's in its final hour. The gates to the Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair opened at 5 o'clock. This marks the 59th year for the fair, first one being 1955. Among the highlights, a firefighter show, circus clowns, racing pigs, and an alligator show. And it doesn't look like anybody wants to go home anytime soon.
What a great crowd.
New at 10, Democrats tonight are trying to find the bright side of a brutal defeat as they prepare for an uphill battle on Capitol Hill.
I'm pretty sure I'll take some actions that some in Congress will not like. That's natural.
The president's next steps as he begins to deal with a shift of power in Congress.
And Ray Rice now fighting to return to the NFL. What Roger Goodell told a hearing on the player's indefinite ban from the league. New at 10.
Plus, it seems voters in North Florida had a lot on their minds when they cast ballots yesterday.